Chaos erupted in the once quiet suburban neighborhood as the first wave of monstrosities shambled down the street. Doors slammed, windows shattered, and panicked screams pierced the air. In the Granger household, 12-year-old Lily jolted awake, her heart pounding. Something was horribly wrong. Mom? Dad? She called out, her voice trembling. No response. A cacophony of inhuman growls drifted in from outside, sending a chill down her spine. Lily crept to the window, peering out with wide, terrified eyes. Her neighbors, the Parkers, were stumbling down the sidewalk, their movements jerky and unnatural. Mrs. Parker's head was bent at an unnatural angle, her skin a sickly gray. Mr. Parker's arm hung limply, blood dripping from his fingers. And their children, little Timmy and Susie, were shambling alongside them, their eyes hollow and vacant. Zombies, Lily gasped, her mind racing. The Parkers had always been so kind, always waving and smiling. Now, they were different, twisted, inhuman. Lily's bedroom door flew open, and her father burst in, his face wild with terror. Lily, get downstairs. We have to go, N.O. He yelled, grabbing her arm and yanking her towards the hallway. Lily caught a glimpse of her mother, pale and shaking, as they raced down the stairs. What's happening? Lily cried, her voice cracking with fear. I don't know. But we need to get out of here, her father replied, his words laced with urgency. The Parkers, they're changed, and there are more of them out there. They ran through the kitchen, heading for the back door, when a sickening thud echoed from the living room. Lily's father froze, his grip tightening on her arm. A figure stood in the doorway, its movements jerky and unnatural. Lily's blood ran cold as she recognized Mrs. Parker, her eyes hollow and lifeless. A guttural growl escaped her lips, and she lurched forward, her hands grasping for them. Lily's father shoved her behind him, shielding her with his body. Stay back. He yelled, his voice laced with desperation. Mrs. Parker's only response was a roar as she lunged forward, her teeth bared. Lily's father scrambled for the kitchen knife on the counter, his hands trembling. As Mrs. Parker closed in, he swung the blade with all his might, slicing through her neck in a spray of blood. Lily watched in horror as Mrs. Parker's severed head tumbled to the floor, her body collapsing in a heap. Her father's face was pale, his eyes wide with shock. We have to go, Lily. We have to get out of here, he whispered, his voice shaking. Lily nodded, tears streaming down her face as they fled through the back door and into the nightmare that had consumed their once peaceful neighborhood. The world had changed in the blink of an eye, and Lily knew they were in for a fight for their lives. Lily and her father raced down the deserted street, the sickening sounds of the undead echoing all around them. Shadows moved in the mist, and Lily swore she could hear the distant wails of her neighbors, now transformed into the living dead. Her father's grip on her hand was tight, his knuckles white with strain. We have to get to the car, he panted, his breath ragged. We need to get out of here, find someplace safe. They rounded the corner, the family sit-in in sight, when a horrifying sight stopped them in their tracks. Lily's heart nearly stopped as she recognized the figure shambling towards them. It was her mother, her once vibrant features now twisted and decayed. Mom. No. Lily cried, her voice a strangled sob. Her father pulled her back, shielding her with his body. Stay behind me, Lily. I won't let them hurt you. Lily's mother let out a guttural growl, her lifeless eyes fixed on them. With a sudden burst of speed, she lunged forward, her hands grasping for them. Lily's father swung the kitchen knife, slicing deep into her shoulder. The creature that had been her mother howled in pain, but it did not slow her down. Desperate, Lily's father grabbed a metal pipe lying on the ground and swung it with all his might, the impact shattering her mother's skull. She crumpled to the ground, unmoving. Lily stared in numb disbelief, her heart shattering. Her father pulled her into a fierce embrace, his own tears mingling with hers. I'm so sorry. Lily? He whispered, his voice thick with grief. We have to keep moving. We have to find somewhere safe. Trembling, Lily nodded, following her father to the car. As they sped away, she cast one last, anguished look at the body of her mother, now just another victim of the unspeakable horror that had descended upon their once peaceful world. The journey ahead would be fraught with danger, but Lily knew she had to keep going. For her mother's sake, and for her own survival. The car raced down the deserted highway, the once familiar landscape transformed into a nightmare. Lily clutched the door handle, her knuckles white, as her father navigated the winding road. Where are we going? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't know. Her father replied, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. We just need to get as far away from here as possible. Lily's gaze drifted to the rearview mirror, and she felt her heart sink. In the distance, she could see the shambling figures of the undead, their movements jerky and unnatural. The horde was growing, and it was closing in. Dad, they're following us, she cried, panic rising in her voice. Her father's grip tightened on the steering wheel. Hold on, Lily. I'm going to try to lose them. He pressed the accelerator, the car surging forward with a roar. Lily watched in horror as the zombies began to pick up speed, their bodies contorting and twisting as they pursued their prey. Suddenly, a sickening crunch echoed through the car, and Lily felt the vehicle lurch to the side. Her father cursed under his breath, his face etched with fear. We've got a flat tire. We have to stop. Lily's stomach twisted with dread as the car slowed to a halt, the zombies closing in. Her father grabbed the tire iron from the trunk, his eyes darting around as he prepared to defend them. Stay in the car, Lily. I'll change the tire as fast as I can. Lily watched helplessly as her father worked, his movements frantic. The sound of the undead grew louder, their guttural moans filling the air. She could see them now, their decaying bodies stumbling towards them, their hunger insatiable. Lily's heart raced as her father struggled with the lug nuts, his hands shaking. The zombies were getting closer, their rotting faces twisted in a grotesque parody of humanity. Dad, hurry! Lily cried, her voice trembling with terror. Her father let out a triumphant shout as the tire came loose, and he quickly began to replace it. Lily held her breath, her eyes fixed on the approaching horde. Just as her father started to lower the car, a horrifying sight caught her eye. A figure, its body twisted and contorted, emerged from the mist, its movements unlike anything she had seen before. Lily's blood ran cold as she realized this was no ordinary zombie. This creature was different, its eyes burning with a malevolent intelligence, and it was headed straight for them. Lily's heart pounded in her chest as she watched the twisted creature lurch towards them, its movements unlike anything she had seen from the other zombies. This one was different, faster, more agile, and seemingly driven by a twisted, malevolent intelligence. Dad, look out! She screamed, her voice desperate. Her father whirled around, tire iron in hand, just as the creature lunged. With a sickening crack, the metal struck the zombie's head, sending it reeling. But to Lily's horror, it did not fall. The creature let out a bone-chilling shriek, its eyes burning with unholy malice. It charged forward, its clawed hands outstretched, and Lily's father barely had time to react. He swung the tire iron again, but the zombie dodged the blow with startling speed, its jaws snapping mere inches from his face. Lily watched in terror as the two engaged in a brutal, desperate struggle. Her father was fast, but the zombie was faster, its movements fluid and unpredictable. Lily could see the strain on her father's face, the fear in his eyes as he fought for his life. Suddenly, the creature's jaws clamped down on her father's arm, eliciting an agonized scream. Lily's heart stopped as she watched her father stumble, his grip on the tire iron loosening. The zombie pressed its advantage, its teeth sinking deeper into his flesh. Asterisk Dad. Asterisk Lily cried, her voice raw with anguish. She frantically searched the car for anything she could use as a weapon, her hands trembling. Her father's face was twisted in pain, but he refused to give up. With a final, desperate burst of strength, he swung the tire iron one last time, connecting with the zombie's skull with a sickening crunch. The creature's grip on his arm slackened, and it collapsed to the ground, motionless. Lily's father staggered, his face pale and his breathing ragged. He stared down at the fallen zombie, his expression a mix of relief and horror. Asterisk what was that thing? Asterisk he whispered, his voice shaking. Lily rushed to his side, her eyes filled with tears. Asterisk I don't know, but we have to get out of here. The others are still coming. Asterisk. Her father nodded, his face etched with determination. With Lily's help, he quickly changed the tire, his injured arm hanging limply by his side. As they sped away, Lily cast one last, fearful glance at the approaching horde, her mind racing with questions. What was happening to their world? And how would they survive this nightmare? The car sped down the deserted highway, Lily's father gripping the steering wheel with his good arm, his face etched with pain and determination. Lily couldn't take her eyes off the deep gashes on his arm, the blood seeping through the makeshift bandage she had fashioned. Asterisk Dad, we need to find help asterisk, she said, her voice trembling. Asterisk that bite. It doesn't look good. Asterisk. Her father shook his head, his jaw set. Asterisk. We can't risk stopping, Lily. Those things, they're different. We have to keep moving. Asterisk. Lily's heart sank as she glanced in the rearview mirror, catching a glimpse of the shambling figures in the distance. The horde was still following them, their inhuman growls echoing across the empty landscape. Asterisk. But your arm. Asterisk, she protested, her eyes filled with worry. Asterisk, I'll be fine. Asterisk, her father replied, his voice strained. Asterisk. We just have to find someplace safe. Get off this road. Asterisk. Lily knew better than to argue. She could see the determination in her father's eyes, the fierce resolve to protect her no matter the cost. She settled back into her seat, her gaze fixed on the horizon, praying they would find sanctuary soon. As they rounded a bend, a glimmer of hope emerged in the distance, a small town, its buildings silhouetted against the fading light. Lily's father pressed the accelerator, his eyes narrowing with focus. Asterisk there, Lily. That might be our chance. Asterisk. They raced through the deserted streets, the buildings around them cast in an eerie, ominous shadow. Lily's heart pounded as they searched for a safe haven, any sign of life. Suddenly, a movement caught her eye, a figure in the distance, stumbling towards them. Lily felt her blood run cold as she recognized the shambling, twisted form of a zombie. Asterisk Dad, look out. Asterisk, she cried, her voice shrill with panic. Her father swerved the car, narrowly avoiding a collision. But as they rounded the corner, they were met with a horrifying sight. The streets were teeming with the undead, their pale, decaying faces turned towards them, hungry mouths gaping open. Lily's father cursed under his breath, his grip on the steering wheel white-knuckled. Asterisk, hold on, Lily. We're getting out of here. Asterisk. He floored the accelerator, the car hurtling forward as they plunged deeper into the nightmare, the howls of the zombies echoing in their wake. The car raced through the deserted streets, Lily's father pushing the engine to its limits as they desperately tried to outrun the horde of zombies. Lily gripped the door handle, her knuckles white, her heart pounding in her chest. Asterisk, where are we going? Asterisk, she cried, her voice laced with fear. Asterisk, I don't know. Asterisk, her father replied, his eyes narrowed in concentration. Asterisk, we just have to get away from them. Asterisk. The car careened around a sharp turn, the tires screeching in protest. Lily caught a glimpse of the zombies in the rearview mirror, their guttural moans, and the pounding of their decaying bodies growing ever closer. Suddenly, a massive shape loomed in front of them, and Lily's father slammed on the brakes, the car skidding to a halt. Lily's heart leaped into her throat as she realized they had reached a dead end, a towering chain-link fence blocking their path. Asterisk, no? No, no, asterisk, her father muttered, his face etched with panic. Lily's gaze darted around, searching for an escape, but the zombies were closing in, their hunger insatiable. She could hear them now, their twisted bodies slamming against the car, their clawed hands scrabbling at the windows. Asterisk, Dad, what are we going to do? Asterisk, Lily cried, her voice trembling. Her father's eyes were wild, his mind racing. Suddenly, he turned to her, his expression grim. Asterisk, Lily, listen to me. You have to get out of the car and run. Find somewhere to hide, somewhere safe. Asterisk. Lily shook her head, tears streaming down her face. Asterisk, no, I won't leave you, asterisk. Asterisk, you have to, Lily. I can't protect you if we're trapped in here. You have to go, now, asterisk. Lily hesitated, her heart torn between fear and the desperate need to stay with her father. But as the car shuddered under the onslaught of the undead, she knew he was right. She had to try to escape, for both of their sakes. With a final, anguished look, Lily pushed open the car door and darted out into the chaos, her father's desperate cries fading behind her as she ran, praying she could find a safe haven in this nightmare world. Lily's lungs burned as she raced through the deserted streets, the howls of the undead echoing all around her. She could hear the sickening sounds of her father's desperate struggle, the crunch of metal, and the anguished cries that tore at her heart. Asterisk, I'm sorry. Dad. Asterisk, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the chaos. Tears streamed down her face as she pushed on, her legs aching with the strain. She had to find a safe place, a sanctuary where she could hide and escape the nightmare that had consumed her world. Suddenly, a glimmer of hope emerged in the distance. A tall, looming structure with boarded-up windows and a heavy metal door. Lily felt a surge of adrenaline as she recognized it, the old community center, a place she had visited many times with her parents. Surely it could offer them refuge. Mustering the last of her strength, Lily sprinted towards the building, her heart pounding in her chest. As she reached the door, she frantically searched for a way inside, her fingers trembling. Asterisk, please work. Asterisk, she whispered, her voice laced with desperation. To her relief, the door swung open, and Lily burst inside, slamming it shut behind her. She pressed her back against the cold metal, her breathing ragged as she listened for any signs of pursuit. The silence was deafening, broken only by the distant moans of the undead. Lily's eyes adjusted to the dim light, and she realized the building was deserted, save for a few scattered supplies and debris. Steeling her nerves, Lily crept forward, her senses on high alert. She knew she couldn't stay here for long. The zombies would inevitably find their way in. But for now, it was the only sanctuary she had. As she made her way deeper into the building, a sudden movement caught her eye. Lily froze, her heart pounding, as a figure emerged from the shadows, its features obscured by the gloom. Asterisk, who's there? Asterisk, she whispered, her voice trembling. The figure stepped forward, and Lily felt a surge of relief. It was a young man, his face etched with a mixture of fear and determination. Asterisk, you're alive. Asterisk, he breathed, his eyes wide. Asterisk, how did you? Asterisk. Lily shook her head, her expression grim. Asterisk, I'm not alone. My father, he's still out there. Asterisk. The man's face fell, and Lily knew, in that moment, that her father's fate was still uncertain. But as they huddled together in the darkness, she knew she had to find a way to save him, no matter the cost. The nightmare was far from over, and Lily was determined to survive, for her father's sake and her own. Lily and the young man crouched in the shadows of the abandoned community center, their hearts pounding with fear and uncertainty. The eerie silence was broken only by the distant howls of the undead, a constant reminder of the nightmare that had consumed their world. Asterisk, what's your name? Asterisk, the man whispered, his voice barely audible. Asterisk, Lily. Asterisk, she replied, her eyes darting around the room. Asterisk, and my father, he's still out there, fighting those things. Asterisk. The man's expression darkened, a flicker of empathy crossing his features. Asterisk, I'm sorry, Lily, but we can't go back out there, not with that horde surrounding the building. Asterisk. Lily felt a surge of desperation, her mind racing with a desperate need to save her father. Asterisk, we have to try. Asterisk, she pleaded, her voice trembling. Asterisk. He's all I have left. Asterisk. The man shook his head, his face etched with regret. Asterisk, I wish I could help, but it's suicide out there. We have to focus on surviving, on finding a way out of this nightmare. Asterisk. Lily's heart sank, and she felt a wave of hopelessness wash over her. Her father was out there, alone and fighting for his life, and she was powerless to help him. Tears streamed down her face as she realized the horrifying truth. She might never see him again. As the anguished cries of the undead grew louder, Lily's eyes fell upon a set of metal shelves, stocked with various supplies. A glimmer of hope flickered in her chest, and she turned to the man with a newfound determination. Asterisk, we need to barricade the doors, reinforce the windows. And we need weapons, anything we can use to defend ourselves. Asterisk. The man's eyes widened, and for a moment, Lily saw a flicker of hope in his expression. Without a word, they set to work, their movements swift and efficient. They barricaded the doors, hammered boards over the windows, and gathered every makeshift weapon they could find, pipes, crowbars, even a few hunting knives. As they prepared for the inevitable onslaught, Lily couldn't help but think of her father, his bravery and his unwavering determination to protect her. She knew, in her heart, that he was still fighting, still alive. And she was going to do everything in her power to survive, to find a way out of this hellish nightmare. For him, and for the hope of a future where they could be together again. The thunderous sound of the undead drew ever closer, and Lily gripped her weapon, her eyes sealed with resolve. This was a fight for survival, a battle against the forces of darkness that had consumed their world. And she would not go down without a fight.